Earlier this year, Prime Minister Mia Mottley spoke about the potential of the apiculture industry and its ability to raise revenue and increase employment.
One thing that we have not spoken about in the last 2 days, and I'm not going to go into detail now, but in the next few months you'll hear us talk about it, is honey. There is so much fake honey on the market globally, and we believe that the Caribbean can be a global leader of excellence in the production of honey, and that Barbados can be a leader in the establishment of a honey exchange, because honey doesn't spoil. Okay, and therefore if it doesn't spoil, then you can do trading on futures and derivatives. And the hardest thing is for our people to be able to have access to contract buying. So there are a lot of young men who actually are in and love keeping hives and love going and producing honey. But we need to give them structure, and we need to give them the opportunity with the assurance of contract buying.
Today, Nation News traveled to Borden St. Andrew to find out more.
The Barbados Beekeepers Association met for the first time at the Barbados Agricultural Society headquarters on October 16, 2010, with Christopher Gill as its elected president. At that time, the focus was mainly on honey production. On April 30th, 2016, they became the Barbados Apiculture Association, with the name signifying a shift in priorities towards a need to include all activities essential to the development of a beekeeping industry, and discuss the local apiculture industry and its potential moving forwards.
Yeah, apiculture essentially is the management of bees. Most commonly, the management of commercial apiaries is what we consider the practice of apiculture.
What is the state of our apiculture industry right now?
It's growing. We have had quite a bit of interest, particularly over the last few years. We've had, I would say, over 200 Barbadians trained in beginner beekeeping, some in also more advanced aspects of apiculture like queen rearing and so on. We would have had quite a bit of support from partners such as the Global Environmental Fund, which would have assisted us with expansion, with demonstration, with sensitization, with training of beekeepers across the island. I would say that I think it was towards the end of 2019, early 2020, just before we went into the first lockdown due to COVID, we had about 600 commercially managed hives, and I am thinking that that number would have increased significantly, given the amount of interest that would have been expressed and the amount of support. Again, we also have the feed program, which the ministry is currently conducting, and apiculture is one of the areas of focus for that, and we have quite a few. I believe Beverly is one of the recipients of that support. So I believe we are trending upwards. We do import quite a bit of our honey, and the target really is over the next couple of years to kind of reduce that import bill by a significant amount. We have been trending and kind of been stable at importing around 150,000 kilograms of honey per year, right? Our supply is, as I said, really like 3% of that. So we are quite a ways off from actually substituting what is being imported. What we are trying to do, however, is to differentiate our honey from what is currently being imported. As you may know, honey is one of the commodities that is most targeted for adulteration. And we suspect, given the fact that we import from so many countries, that we may be victims of some of this adulteration. And therefore, what we are trying to do, and has been the practice of the local beekeepers, is to produce a natural product, a raw product, something that is full of all of the beneficial properties, the antioxidant, the anti-cancer, the anti-inflammatory, antibacterial properties that raw honey is known for. And therefore, we are positioning it as not just a substitute for sweetener, but something that is far more beneficial for your health and well-being.
If you intend to buy honey and you're going into like the supermarket, always read the labels and see what the label says, because the label at the front may say raw honey, but then when you look at the ingredients, it may have like honey, high fructose corn syrup, or it may just have HFC, which is the same thing as high fructose corn syrup. So you know then that was added to the honey, so it's not total honey. But in some countries like the States, that is acceptable to be still honey. But we here in Barbados consider honey, as long as it comes straight out of the hive, nothing added. That to us is what we consider pure honey. So you have to watch for those things when you go to the supermarket. Okay?
Can we supply enough honey for the local market?
Currently, no, we can't. We are in the process of trying to able to supply that. But it's going to take time, effort, and a lot of hard work, which we are willing to put in. And we are getting a lot of younger persons coming into the association and beekeeping as well. So probably in another 2 years or so, we probably may be able to start supplying on a more regular basis. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bethany told us how she became a beekeeper.
So I guess I became interested in beekeeping in 2019. I saw a post on Instagram and it really piqued my interest in like how to manage a hive, the importance of bees in our agriculture and just in our environment in general. And when I recognized that it was something that it was achievable for me, I decided the best way to go about it was through the BADMC feed program. I would say that program was extremely beneficial for me. It was hands-on to a certain extent, but I also went further than that and I started my internship at the Ministry of Agriculture with Miss Lynette Rudder, and that gave me a bit more of insight in terms of beekeeping as well as how I can actually become a part of the association with Damien Hinds and Glenn Roy right now. And I would say it was very beneficial.
One of the uses for honey, besides medicinally or as an alternative for sugar, is to create mead, a beverage affectionately referred to by the ancient Greeks as nectar of the gods. Mead is an alcoholic beverage made by fermenting honey mixed with water. Like honey, the apiculture industry in Barbados has untapped potential, but with local support, it may yet be fulfilled.